Hello, dear students of third year mechanical engineering, A section, isn't it or not?
Yes,
Who
sir.
is, uh, who is
Sir,
Yes, sir.
CR, class representative CR?
Yes,
Am,
sir.
am I audible? Is my tone is audible or not?
Yes, sir.
So, shall I start my lecture?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
Um, there are one thing is that so your this entire lecture is going to be recorded. Attendance is going to be monitored by another staff member. So you are requested to follow carefully. And this operations research is not an easy subject. It is a critical subject. There are 6 units. This is unit 1, that is introduction and introductions to operations research and formulation of linear programming problem. In the syllabus, there are 6 units totally. And the first 3 units are to be covered for the first mid examination. So there will be online assignment also. University has already given the academic calendar for the conduction of various mid exams, all those things. You might have seen it, or isn't it or not?
Sir.
Uh,
Yes, sir.
I already uh, communicated this through WhatsApp. Uh, if not, I will send you once again the academic calendar, the R19 regulations for the just students who entered into second year first semester. And now this, because of this COVID-19 pandemic, we are forced to go for online classes. And further, the entire college, most of the areas of the college is given to uh, quarantine center or COVID care center, whatever it may be. Number of doctors and nurses are staying inside our campus. The girls hostel as well as boys hostel completely given to the concerned persons who are suffering from this coronavirus, all those things. So hence there is no chance to enter the college at any time. So it may take a long time. When the actual classroom teaching will start, we do not know. Why? Because means the waiting hall, ladies waiting hall, the gym, boys hostel, and on the other side, amenities block as well as girls hostel. All these things were handed over by the district administration. Only principal is coming and administering the day-to-day affairs of the particular college. So I myself and my staff are fearing to the go to the college because of this virus, coronavirus. So therefore, the online classes may completely go throughout the semester, as I feel so. So nobody has the perfect information. So JNTU Kakinada has strongly given the instructions to go for online classes. At the same time, uh, the class lecture as well as attendance are going to be recorded, and they are to be sent bi-weekly. At the end of the Saturday, we have to send it to the university. So therefore, keeping in view of all these problems, I request you, all of you, to attend the classes carefully. And at the same time, I request you to register with your numbers. To register with your numbers. When I'm teaching the class, my one of my colleagues will record your attendance by numbers. If it is by name, it is very difficult for us. And by evening, we have to post your attendance in the Google Sheets that are available with the principal. So therefore, uh, this is nothing but to comply with the rules and regulations of JNTU, Kakinada. So they have strictly instructed the college to send the weekly report about the conduction of the online classes as well as the attendance, the video recordings, all those things. So I request you to be careful. Now, so there is a lot of difficulty in understanding the theoretical part, whereas problematic part, it is very easy unless you work on a paper with pen. It is very difficult to understand the problems. So anyhow, I'm going to teach to my level best, try to understand, and but at the same time, practice everything at your house. Practice everything at your house depends on the available textbooks, all those things. So to cater the needs of the classes, I request you to make necessary arrangements. So cell phone and the cell phone, whatever it may be, it is not possible to understand or it's not possible uh, to observe the screens that I am sharing for your explanation. So better have a laptop, better have a desktop, better maintain the required Wi-Fi or required pack to maintain available for all classes. Daily 4 classes. If there are 6 subjects, 6 into 4 periods per week, I have instructed my teaching staff to engage all the classes in the morning section so that you will in the afternoon you will free. So if there is no Wi-Fi or there is no provision in your area, better shift to your relatives' house or surrounding areas where the Wi-Fi is available uh, to hear the entire lectures that are going on from morning. So if some staff member is unable to take class in the morning, so class will be conducted in the afternoon and try to observe carefully uh, the WhatsApp and follow the particular thing. So I also observed that in the final year group, students are corresponding among themselves in the group. So I request you not to do this. So this is a group involved both the students and staff. Therefore, if you intend to communicate anything, better communicate to your class representative. In turn, the concerned class representative will talk to the teachers and reply you in your private WhatsApp. So please comply with it. Okay. Now comes to um, introduction and introduction to operation research. And so this is already I have already conducted 2 classes for the B section. I'm a little bit going to be fast in this particular hour. So definition of war. War is the application of scientific methods, techniques, and tools to problems involving operations of a system so as to provide those in control of the system with optimum solutions to the problems. So this operations research uh, is nothing but the application of various scientific methods or various techniques uh, uh, in operating a particular plant or production plant or something like that, and thereby finding an optimum solution to the problems. The main intention is to. So it depends on the available resources in the factory. We'll formulate a particular function, and thereby we'll go for the particular thing. Next, the characteristics of war is a system orientation, the use of interdisciplinary teams, application of scientific method, uncovering of new problems, improvement in quality of decisions, use of computer, quantitative solutions, and human factors. So it is a system oriented means the entire factory. It is nothing but a production system where you can find all these things, where you can apply this particular operation research. The main intention is to improve the production for that particular process. It's a scientific orientation operation research. There may be not one team, production team, planning team, design team, quality control team, and in addition to that, CNC machining or all these things will be there. So therefore, interdisciplinary teams. Uh, for CNC milling machine, you need to require a CNC expert. The programming, all those things are to be written carefully. That's why interdisciplinary teams. And application of the scientific method. So there are so many scientific methods to evolve at an optimum solution. So therefore, that is nothing but the scientific method. Uncovering of the new problems. While application of the particular thing, while application of the operation research, some problems are going to be uncovered. So those problems are to be dealt separately, and or else you have to find out a best solution within the available resources within the factory. Improvement in the quality of decisions. Improvement in the quality of the decisions. Initially, generally for any factory, we will uh, start with certain decisions, and we will arrive at a final product. So there may be certain problems in the production of the final product until the final product reaches to the dispatch section. So in that, you have to carry out a reverse engineering, and thereby you have to improve your initial decisions that were taken at the top level. So like that, you have to improve the quality of the decisions. Next, use of computer, quantitative solutions, and human factors. So quantitative means some areas uh, can be dealt scientifically. Some areas cannot be dealt scientifically because they involve the quantity of the materials that flows into the factory, or the quality of the material that flows into the factory. So the amount of the material that flows into the factory, nothing but the inventory, all those things. So like that, human factors means the personal factors, surrounding factors, the nothing but a pollution, and the people around the particular factory may protest if your factory delivers harmful gases or compounds. So therefore, these are the human factors that will affect system orientation of the war. So there are production department, marketing department, finance department, personal department, the four departments. And without, so this is one system, the second system, third system, fourth system. All coupled together gives the total main system, and through which certain problems can be solved through war. And so this is, therefore, the entire operation research is a system oriented, not a general oriented. So the use of interdisciplinary teams, psychologists want better workers or best products, mechanical engineering, software engineering, and so these are the psychologists, mechanical engineering, software engineering. All these things. So psychologist is one person who observes the workers, better workers and best products. mechanical engineering will try to improve the machines. So, hello, there is a disturbance.
Roll number 304, 19 series, roll number 304.
Please ask.
Please mute your mic. Roll number 304, 19 series. Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, this is psychologist, mechanical engineering, software engineering. These are the interdisciplinary teams that will work to give a better product or to improve the number of components or number of products in the particular system. So this is next application of scientific method. So application of the scientific method. Most scientific research such as chemistry, physics can be carried out in the lab under controlled condition with much interference from the outside world. But this is not true in the case of operation research study. An operation research worker is the same position as the astronomer, since the latter can observe the system but cannot manipulate. So this most of the research in physics and chemistry is carried out in the lab, whereas in the operational research it is not so. And the only thing is that one can observe from outside, and therefore depends on the circumstances, depends on the availability of the data. One can find out an optimum solution to the problems that are arising in the particular factory. So therefore, operational research, an operational research worker is the same position as the astronomer, since the latter can observe the system but cannot manipulate. He cannot manipulate. With the available thing, he has to find out the optimal solution. Depends on the conditions that are prevailing in the system. So we cannot manipulate. So we have to find out the solution that can optimize, that can give a better solution to the problems in the particular factory. Uncovering of new problems in order to derive full benefits continuity research must be maintained. Of course, the results of war study pertaining to a particular problem need not wait until all the connected problems are solved. So certain problems are to be cannot be solved through these scientific methods. Certain problems, those are going to be called as uncovering of the new problems. So with a certain existing problems, you can find out an optimal solution, but the optimal solution is not the final solution, because certain new problems are uncovered. So in the course of action, these new problems which are not covered, they are to be solved together with the initial solutions of the operational research, and then only you can find out a better optimal solution through this operational research in a particular factory. So when you are running a particular factory, certain problems, certain data is available. While you are dealing with this, some other problems are going to be uh, surface, and that problems, if you go on counting those problems also, you cannot find out an optimal solution. So with the existing data, with the existing workers, with the existing production line, uh, so you can go for an optimal solution by setting aside the new problems. So that new problems later can be solved and coupled together, find an optimal solution. Improvement in the quality of the decision. So O.R gives bad answers to problems, otherwise worst answers are given. That is, it can only improve the quality of the solution, but you may not be able to give perfect solution. So sometimes you may not arrive at a good solution. Sometimes you may not arrive at a appropriate solution. So therefore, you have to review the particular situation, and therefore you have to go for the again a fresher solution for the particular thing. So unless otherwise you implement the initial solution and find the next solution, so that only you can get a good decision. Like that, the quality of the decisions are to be reviewed continuously to arrive an optimal solution for the problems of the particular factor. So use of computer, you know it, quantitative solutions, nothing but the uh, uh, number of components produced, number of products that are produced, number of delivery stations, all these things comes under the quantity solution. The human factors, that is affect human factors means personal factories of the workers that are working at various levels. Those are the human factors. Outside human factors means and people staying in the surrounding area, and water that is available, current available, road safety, and roads that are available, all these comes under the other human factors that affect the particular scope of the operational research. So what are the areas that can be this particular operational research can be applied? So one is uh, industrial management. Second one is defense operations. Third one is economies. Fourth one is agriculture section, and other areas hospital, transport, LIC. So this is a this operational research. These are scientific methods proposed through this operational research are they will play a vital role in improving the economy of the state. So this is this industrial management of the this industrial management mainly production of the particular company, and inventory maintenance, demand, sale and purchase, transportation, repair and maintenance, scheduling, all those things. So these all these basic methods can be applied to all these areas of industrial engineering or production engineering, whatever it may be. Similarly, this can be applied in defense operations, Army, Air Force, Navy. So number of people that are working at various stages, and number of people that are going to be posted at various areas or various areas of the country. So like this, how to deal them, how to extract the information, how to improve the situation in the corresponding areas. So all these things are going to be dealt. Similarly, economics, maximum growth of per capita income is the in the shortest possible time by taking into consideration the national goals or restrictions imposed by the country. The basic problem in most of the countries is to remove poverty, hunger as quickly as possible. So you are aware that for such a large country like India, there are so many problems, and if it is a small country or it is a small area, we can deal it, and it's a large country, it's very difficult to deal it. So in that particular case, the economy has to be improved, and in such a case, the operational research again through the scientific methods of the operational research, we can improve the economy, and we can see that. If a particular scheme is launched, we can see that it is reached to the bottommost person from the topmost person. So next, agriculture section. So in the agriculture section also there are is very important, plays a vital role to the economy of the country, because every human being in any country requires the food. There should not be any shortage. So such shortages, where such shortages are occurring, that has to be analyzed. So what are the next steps that would be taken to improve the production of agricultural production? So like that, things are to be, problems are to be analyzed, and problems are to be re-engineered. Next, analysis has to be carried out. So like that, if certain problems are occurring in this particular year, and if such a there is a shortage of food like that, then we have to decide what course of action has to be taken, what decisions are to be taken to improve the production of the particular food to avoid the shortage. Now other areas, hospital, transport, LIC. These hospitals, transportations, life insurance, all these things plays a vital role in the uh, growth of the entire society. So unless you have the hospitals uh, for particular populations, which is difficult, people may die. So transportation again, a required number of buses, trains, planes, all those things. Similarly, insurance is to be covered. Next, the phases of war, formulating a problem, these are the various stages. In formulating a problem for O.R study, we must be made of the four major components: environment, decision maker, objectives, organized course of action. So environment is a factory environment. Decision maker means what is the top boss that is going to put his decisions. The objectives, final objectives, what is the production, how much production has to be, so in what time, and what are the available resources, all these things. Next, alternative course of action and constraints. So the production is shorter against the expected things, then you have to reverse your other course of action to improve the particular thing. So this is a construction of a model. After formulating a problem, the next step is to construct a model. The mathematical model consists of an equation to describe the problem. The equation represents, first of all, you have to write down the problem clearly. After writing the problem, there may be constraints, that is effectiveness function or objective function. That is objective function. Objective function means generally it's a maximize or minimize. Maximize the profit or minimize the losses. Minimize the losses in the factory or maximize the profit in the particular factory. So, and there are constraints and there are restrictions. So there are constraints means there is certain boundaries. So restrictions will be there and you cannot exercise as you like. So this objective function followed by the constraints, we have to solve it and we have to arrive at a final solution. Wherever you go throughout the particular section, you will find out objective function and constraints. You have to solve the objective function with the help of the constraints. That's the particular. Deriving solution from the model. An optimal solution for a model consists of two types of procedure: analytical and numerical. So analytical means x1, x2, x3, like that. You have to calculate. You have to find out analytical solution. Numerical solution means the total solution in terms of numerics. So like that, two models can be identified. Next, testing the model. The model is never perfect representation of reality. So that model, if you solve any particular model, it is nothing but a representation, but it's not, it does not give the actual figures. It does not give the actual figures, but it is a representative. So it is nothing but a prediction, we can say simply, and depends on that. Again, you have to implement it strictly, depends on the available resources. You have to strictly follow the procedures or take precautions to improve the production. Next comes to establishing controls over solution. A solution derived from a model remains a solution only so long as the uncontrollable variable retain their values and their relationship between the variable does not change. So there is multiple variables, x1, x2, x3, like that, x4. So there must be controls over the solution, establishing controls over the less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, like that you have to control the variables and which gives perfect solution for the particular problem. Into implementation, or is not merely to produce a report to improve the system performance, the result of the research. So it is not, it does not give simply a report, and therefore you cannot, it gives a particular solution, random solution. It is not the perfect solution. So it depends on the random solution. So you can maximize your profit or minimize your losses. So if you continue to run your factory, you may indulge in losses. So to avoid that particular problem, generally the factory people will approach the operation research people, and in terms, you will collect the data from the factory, you will find out an optimal solution, and it is a model. Therefore, he will give also some information regarding which areas are to be taken care very much. If the areas are taken care very much as prescribed by the operation research person, automatically certain losses can be reduced to a certain extent. So therefore, OR is not merely to produce report or to improve the system performance, the result of the research. So only thing is that to improve the system performance, it is not. Next, additional changes or modifications to be made on the part of OR group, because many times solutions which take feasible on paper may conflict with the capabilities and ideas of the person. So if you calculate or if you arrive at a solution on a particular paper, so that gives a basic information, but it is not the exact solution. So next, limitations of OR, mathematical models which are the essence of OR do not take into account qualitative factors or emotional factors. So mathematical models means x1, x2, x3, various factors that are available. The mathematical models does not consider the uh, emotional factors of the workers. Emotional factors of the workers. So some workers exhibit that they are not being paid properly. They are not being paid other incentives like that. Those things the war will not take into consideration. Only mathematical models we will arrive at a particular solution, will give a solution. Next, mathematical models are applicable to only specific categories of the problems. So mathematical models are applicable only specific categories of the problems. So all problems cannot be summarized and solved with the mathematical models. All problems cannot be solved. Like human factors of the person's workers cannot be solved. So the factory has to take a particular decision. So the mathematical models will help only the improve the production depends on the available resources in the factory. So next, being a new field, there is a resistance from the employee, the new personals. So if it is we are going to implement the war decisions, some persons may resist. So it will take some time to adjust. Next, management offer a lot of resistance due to conventional thinking. So management will also certain offer certain resistance because it is a mathematical modeling of the mathematical solutions, optimum solutions for the problems that are existing in the particular system. War is meant for men, not for the man, is meant for it. So operation research is meant for men that are working in the particular factory. So not for the entire system, but is not for men, is not for men to them. Difficulties of war, the problem formulation phase, data collection. Problem formulation means, first of all, you have to observe the phenomena of the particular factory. So for that, what are therefore you have to identify the areas and maximization, minimization, number of products, number of components, number of machines, all those things. A lot of data has to be collected, and therefore, according to the a problem has to be formulated, and whether it is a maximization problem or minimization problem, that has to be analyzed, and for that, lot of data is required. Operations research, operations analyst is based on his observation in the plant. So this is a factory is going to run on its own as decided earlier. There may be losses after some time, or there be a nominal production in the particular line, even though there is a large investment. So for that particular operations analyst will land into the particular factory and based on his observations, he can analyze. Observations can never be more than a sample of the whole. So it's not a entire thing, it is a sample. Good solution to the problem at right time may be much more useful than perfect solutions. Good solution of the problem at right time. At right time, if you are able to find out a solution at the right time, so it will be a perfect solution. And if you implement it immediately, you will your problems will be your losses will be reduced. So linear programming, so these are the linear programming problems, what we are going to call it as. Requirements of linear programming. there must be a well-defined objective function which is to be either maximized or minimized, or which can represent as a linear function of the decision variable. I just told you maximization or minimization. This is what we are going to call it as an objective function. So maximize z is equal to 4x1 plus 2x2 plus 3x3 is less than or equal to 450, like that. It is an objective function. So that 450, everything should be less than or equal to 450. So like that, this is an objective function. So this has to be formulated initially. Next, there must be a constraints. So after formulating the objective function, that function has to be solved within the framework and boundary of the constraints. So with the help of these constraints, then you can solve the particular objective function. All these constraints must be greater than, maybe greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to, or sometimes equal to. So these are the constraints of the particular problem. So there must be alternative course of action. So sometimes there will be an optimum solution. So sometimes the solution may not be feasible. Sometimes the solution you cannot get infeasible solution. Infeasible solution. In such a case, you have to find out what is the alternative course of action. Alternative course of action if there is an infeasible solution. So that is very important. Next, the decision variable should be interrelated and non-negative. So the decision variable should be interrelated and non-negative. So always it should be positive only. There will not be anything else. So the resource must be limited. Resource must be limited means, so for the existence of the particular factory, resources are to be limited. So if the resources are abnormal, you cannot take all the resources into your factory and pile them as inventory. So limited resources, resources are to be maintained limitedly. Some important insight: the power of variable and products are not permissible in the objective function as well as constraint. The power of the variable means x1, x2, x3. That does not affect the particular problem, objective function. x1, x2, x3 are the variables. So the power of the particular variable does not affect the particular function. So next, linearity can be characterized by certain additive and multiplicative properties. So this is linearity can be characterized by certain additives and multiplicative. So that is A in 5 hours, B in 10 hours, totally 15 hours. So if you carry out a job, it will take 5 hours, and it will take 10 hours for the second job, and totally if you ignore the installation time, if you ignore the unloading time, the total thing is nothing but 15 hours. All those installation time, unloading of the job time should not be taken into considerations. This is nothing but the qualitative approach in the particular thing. Similarly, if a product yields a profit of rupees 10, then the profit and for the sale of 12 such products will be 120 rupees. These will not always be because quantity discount. So always you cannot sell because there may be discount, all those things. The decision variables are restricted to have integral values. Decision variables are restricted to have integral values. The objective function does not involve any constant term. So that is z is equal to sigma of, so this is plus c, this is a constant term, is objective function. That is, the optimum values are just independent of any constant c. Optimum values are, so this is nothing but the particular thing. Next comes to examples and formulations of LP model. Is very important. So how do you formulate a problem? Depends on the particular thing. So I told you have to formulate, you have to create an objective function. How do you create an objective function? So this is the problem given. So here the farm produces 3 products. These products are processed on 3 different machines. The time required to manufacture one such unit is this thing. So here you can observe machine 1, 2, 3. Product 1, it will take 2 hours. 2 hours, 4 hours, 2 hours like this. On machine 1, it will take 2 hours. Machine 2, it will take 4 hours. On machine 3, it will take 3 hours. Suppose this is turning process. This is a step turning process. This is a threading process. So for the same product, so 2 hours on machine 1, 4 hours on machine 2 like this. This is, there is no operation like this. So here machine capacity. So machine capacity 440, 470, 430. It is required to determine the daily number of units are manufactured for each product. The profit per unit 1, 2, 3. ఇక్కడ ఏమి ఇచ్చాడు 1, 2, 3. There are, so nothing but the 1, 2, 3 products. Rupees 4, rupees 3, rupees 6. Rupees 4 is product 1. Rupees 3 is for product 2, and rupees 4 is for product 3. So it is assumed that all the amounts produced are consumed in the market. So step 1, the key question to make is to determine the daily number of units to be manufactured for each product. So how many products are to be? Let x1, x2, x3 be the number of units produced products. Number of units of products 1, 2, 3 manufactured daily. Feasible alternative solutions x1, x2, x3 greater than, since negative number of production runs has no meaning. There will not be negative production. So next comes to the objective function is to minimize the profit. So that is maximize, that is equal to 4x1 plus 3x2, 6x3. So here you can observe maximize the profit, that is maximize, that is equal to, it's on 4x1. ఇక్కడ ఏముంది, ఇక్కడ 4x1 rupees 4, rupees 3, 4x1 plus 3x2 plus 6x3. 4x1 plus 3x2 plus 6x3. The profit has to be maximized. The profit has to be maximized with these rates rupees 4x1 plus 3x2 plus 6x3. అదే ఇక్కడ ఇచ్చారు చూడండి 4x1 plus 3x2 plus 6x3. Next, constraints as linear equalities. Here the constraints are the machine thing. ఇక్కడ చూడండి 2x1 plus 3x2 ఇచ్చాడు less than 440. 2x1 machine 1 మీద 2x1 plus 3x2 plus 2x3 machine capacity minute per day should not be greater than 440. So therefore less than or equal to 440 is given. Less than or equal to 440. Similarly, you observe this 4x1 0x2 plus 3x3 less than or equal to 470. 2x1 plus 5x2 plus 0x3 plus less than or equal to 430. Like this, you have to formulate your less than or equal to 3 constraints. Okay, so like this you have to formulate the. So this is another thing, another problem, advertising media section problem. So advertising media, an advertising company wishes to plan his advertising strategy in 3 different media: television, radio, magazine. Television, radio, magazine, magazine 2 అని ఇచ్చాడు. Cost of an advertisement unit 30,000 అవుతుంది, రేడియోలో అయితే 20,000, and magazine it will cost 15,000. In magazine it will cost 10,000. Number of potential customers reached per unit. So therefore, if it is a television and with this particular cost, 2 lakhs people can be viewed. 20,000 అయితే 6 lakhs people radio కాబట్టి, and magazine only 1,50,000, magazine to 1 lakh people. So depends on that he has formulated z is equal to 2x1 plus 6x2 1.5 ఇచ్చాడు. 2x1 చూడండి, ఇది ఇక్కడ ఏమి ఇచ్చాడు, నంబర్ ఆఫ్ పొటెన్షియల్ కస్టమర్స్ రీచ్డ్ పెర్ యూనిట్. ఇక్కడ మెయిన్ ఇంటెన్షన్ ఏంటి, వాట్ ఇస్ ద మెయిన్ ఇంటెన్షన్? maximum number of customers it has to reach. Maximum number of customers it has to reach అంటే 2x1 plus 6x2 plus 1.5x2 plus x4 and less than or equal to ఇక్కడ ఎంత అవుతుంది కాస్ట్ 4,50,000 అవుతుంది. సో దట్ ఈస్ ద ఇక్కడ ఇచ్చాడు చూడండి. నెక్స్ట్ ద అడ్వర్టైజింగ్ బడ్జెట్. అడ్వర్టైజింగ్ బడ్జెట్ అంటే ఇక్కడ చూడండి అడ్వర్టైజింగ్ బడ్జెట్ 30,000 x1, 20,000 x2, 15,000 x3 అండ్ 10,000 x4. దీనికి 4,50,000 ఇచ్చాడు ఇక్కడ చూడండి. దాన్ని బట్టి లెస్ దాన్ ఈక్వల్ టు 4,50,000. ఆ నంబర్ ఆఫ్ ఫిమేల్ ఇక్కడ నంబర్ ఆఫ్ ఫిమేల్ కస్టమర్స్ రీచ్డ్ పర్ యూనిట్ 1,50,000 x1, 4 lakhs x2, 70,000 x3 and 50,000 x4. ఇక్కడ మ్యాక్సిమం ఎంత ఇచ్చాడు నంబర్ ఆఫ్ ఫిమేల్ గ్రేటర్ దాన్ ఈక్వల్ టు 10 lakhs అని ఇచ్చాడు. సో ఇక్కడ 10 lakhs అని ఇక్కడ ఇచ్చి ఉంటాడు చూడండి, ఇది నేను చూడలేదు. సో అలాగే ఆన్ ఎక్స్పెన్స్ ఆన్ మ్యాక్సైన్. ఎక్స్పెన్స్ ఆన్ మ్యాక్సైన్ అంటే కాస్ట్ ఆఫ్ అన్ అడ్వర్టైజింగ్. ఎక్స్పెన్స్ ఆన్ మ్యాక్సైన్ అంటే ఇది 1. సో 15,000 x1 ప్లస్ 10,000 x2 అని పెడతాం ఎక్స్పెన్స్ ఆన్ మ్యాక్సైన్ కాబట్టి. సో 15,000 x3 అండ్ 10,000 x4 అని ఇచ్చాడు. అంటే ఇక్కడ ఫస్ట్ x1, x2, x3, x4 లైక్ దట్ 4 కాలమ్స్ కాబట్టి ఆ విధంగా వచ్చింది. సో నెక్స్ట్ is x3 greater than a number of units of the magazine. So x3 greater than 3 and a number of. So like this the problems are to be formulated, and this is example 3. This is another example, and example 4 this is another example, and this is example 5. This is another example, and example 6 this is also another example. So these are the, first of all, the problems are to be formulated. Problems are to be formulated. Next, the solutions are to be found, the particular thing. So tomorrow I am winding up the particular class, and anyhow you have to go to the next class. So this is from tomorrow onwards we'll deal with the graphical solution and other solutions. They're very interesting, and you have to solve through a graphical paper. So this particular, you see this graphical solution. So in these types of graphical single solution, all these things. So here extreme point of enumeration approach. So graphical solution method is another method, simplex method, big M method, and UV method. There are so many methods are there. All the methods are to be carefully solved. This is very typical toughest chapter unless you work on the particular thing. So therefore, shall I wind up? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm leaving them, ending the entire thing.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir.